Before you rush into a private sale, just know you could be leaving a ton of money on the table. In this video, I'll tell you about a recent seller who almost missed out on $700,000. Here's how you can make sure you're getting what your business is worth. So sometimes selling your business can feel a bit like walking a tightrope. On one side, you desperately want that validation from buyers to want to buy your business, and you're tempted to snap up the first offer that comes your way. On the other side, you're holding out for hope that a better deal might come along. But it's risky, of course, to turn down an offer in hopes that a better deal is just around the corner. Now, managing your fears and expectations as a seller is a delicate balancing act. And thankfully, one of our sellers learned that a little bit of knowledge and expert advice can go a long way in quelling those fears and helping to wait it out a little bit to achieve a profitable exit. Now, before we get started, maybe you're wondering, what are the characteristics of an Amazon FBA business that can exit for 7 figures? So I can't get into the exact details of what the business was, but just to provide you with some information, this was an Amazon FBA business, family owned, started in 2015, and it was in the automotive niche and owned several SKUs, a diverse portfolio of SKUs, and we're selling in the US and European marketplace. Now, one of the key business decisions that the owner made that made this business such an attractive acquisition was they saw in 2020 everything was starting to close down, and they predicted that supply chain issues were going to follow as a result of this. So what they did was they started to work with the 3PL. They sent more inventory than they initially needed. And as a result, once things started to shut down and inventory became tight, especially on competitors, they were able to continue selling without worrying about stocking out. And that was a huge differentiator to other competitors who were stocking out, or other just Amazon FBA businesses in general. One of the biggest sticking points to purchasing an e-commerce business during this time are the supply chain issues that a lot of e-commerce businesses were hit by over the past couple of years. So naturally, buyers want to know if this business is protected from that. Now, when we first met with the seller, they had a difficult decision to make. They received an offer from a private buyer of $1.4 million. And for most people, that is a life-changing amount of money. And so, of course, they were naturally tempted to accept the offer. Now, to add to that, the buyer gave them a time incentive to which they had 24 hours to accept the offer or the deal was off the table. So you can imagine just life-changing offer plus this insane time pressure that many sellers would cave into that and just say, all right, I want to sell. But fortunately, they came to us just to see what the business could be valued, to get that second opinion from a reputable source. And after receiving the valuation, we felt confident that we'd be able to sell their business for much higher. And so the seller took a leap of faith. They decided to work with us, put their trust in a brokerage, and that was the start to working together. And this led to the valuation that the business would finally receive. So once we listed the business on the marketplace, it went through the select listing process. And this is a little bit of a different process. It's offered to businesses of a certain size and meet certain qualifications. So in this program, it's now the buyers that have a time limit in order to make a decision to provide an offer. But all of the buyers know that they're competing with each other for offers. And the seller now has a chance to evaluate the different offers, speak with the different buyers about their own experience running this type of business, and from there make a decision about who they want to sell the business to. Now, what this does is you have buyers competing against each other in order to acquire an attractive business, and as a result, the valuation increases naturally. And the businesses can sell very fast. This business was on the marketplace for just 10 days before selling, and it sold for a whopping $2.1 million, $700,000 more than the original offer. Some of you are probably thinking, but there are fees associated with the brokerage. Yes, that is true. There is the commission. One thing to also take into consideration, though, is that the commission covers a lot of the expenses that would also be incurred had that seller gone through the private sales, hiring lawyers, writing contracts, hiring somebody to actually help with the transition process itself. So yes, there are brokerage fees, but those also include a lot of the expenses that a seller would incur otherwise. So rushing into a sale can really leave you blind to more lucrative opportunities. So it's best to take your time, seek out qualified advice, and make an informed decision from that perspective. Now, let's talk about what this shows about the risks of selling privately. And some people call this the off-market fallacy, where you are selling directly with somebody else and you just don't know, you don't have any information about what your options are. Of course, it's to the buyer's benefit to do this. They're completely incentivized to try to get the lowest deal possible. Whereas if you're working with a brokerage, our incentives are aligned with your own because we also want to sell your business for the highest possible valuation. Private buyers, they are in many cases very experienced at buying businesses. This is not the first time that they've done this, whereas For many sellers, this is the life-changing exit that they've been dreaming of. And because of that, they're negotiating with somebody who has far more experience, and those experienced people know how to pull those emotional triggers. So it's best to have somebody on your side who's able to think objectively about this sale and make sure that you're getting the highest valuation possible. And in this case, we're able to do this because we have a large qualified buyer pool. We have access to over $7 billion in liquidity. And because of this, you get people making different offers on your business, and you're ultimately able to decide, if you're in a good position like this one, what offer to take essentially. Now, some people might be saying, well, that sounds great. That seller sounds like he was able to sell very easily. Right now, it's more of a buyer's market. While that may be true, that could be even more of an incentive to work with a brokerage, because now more of the power is with the buyer, and it's not this all-out feeding frenzy of Amazon sellers just listing themselves on the marketplace and getting the best offer. You're more likely now to be negotiated down than before. So all to say, if you're planning to sell your business, make sure you're actually performing exit planning. You know the valuation of your business. You're getting a second opinion, whether that's through our free valuation tool, which you can find in the link below, or you're actually speaking with one of our sales advisors who can speak to you about whether right now is the best time to sell based on what you are trying to accomplish and how much you're trying to sell for. And if you want to, you can submit your business for our opinion on what your business is valued. So that's all for now. If you want to see ways that you can maximize your business's valuation prior to even working with us or any other brokerage, then click on this video and you can hear directly from the vetting advisors, who's the team at Empire Flippers that values businesses. So that's all for now. See you in the next one.